I am sitting in my car waiting for an appointment, just enjoying my little dirty chai. And I was just thinking about this, and this is something that I have thought about for a while, like something that I feel like I've had to combat in my life for many years. I think a lot of us get in our own heads and become our own roadblocks, but I also think that we have a tendency to let other people get in our way, even if they don't realize it. So it's kind of this idea of like, who is stopping you from doing what you want to do or accomplishing the things you want to accomplish or being the person you want to be? Like, who is stopping you from doing it? Because I think a lot of times we have a person in our head, or maybe we've like made a conglomeration of different people in our lives and it's become like this big ugly monster. I know that I have done that for a long time, of just having someone in my head who is telling me the same crappy things over and over and over and over again, and it keeps me from doing anything because I'm just sitting there thinking, oh my god, what is this person gonna think? What is this person gonna say? Oh, they would say I'm stupid or this isn't good enough. And that goes through my head all the freaking time. It's so frustrating, and something that I have learned, that voice is never ever gonna go away. It never goes away. Every time you hear that voice, you kind of have to just stop and be like, no, I'm not listening to you. Thank you. I'm not listening to you. Thank you for your opinion. I don't want it. I see what you're saying. We're gonna move on. Acknowledging that you're having those thoughts, I think, is really important, because I think if you just shove it away and you don't acknowledge what you're thinking, it causes you to feel bad about what thoughts are in your mind, and it also can cause you to have the thoughts again and again and again, because you're not saying like, okay, I hear you. One technique that mindfulness and meditation teaches you is acknowledging your thoughts, but like, you don't have to become your thoughts and you don't have to accept those thoughts. Kind of like if you're sitting and watching the clouds go by, like you're sitting there and going, oh, there's a cloud, and that's it. You're not sitting there like, oh my god, the cloud's leaving. Oh my god, the cloud's leaving. I am that cloud. What does that cloud think of me? You're just sitting there and you're like, that's a cloud. That's a cloud. And I think that that applies to even the crappy, shitty things that the voice in your head says, of just like, okay, thank you, I'm going to ignore you. Or, okay, thank you, I'm going to move on. It helps you to take your power back, because you're saying, okay, cool, but I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, or I'm going to do it anyways, or I'm just not going to listen to you. And that gives you back your power. Because the thing is whether the voice in your head is like one specific person that always drug you down, always told you you weren't good enough, always just made you feel embarrassed or ashamed of yourself, whether it's a singular person or it's like, I don't know, like the spirit of a bunch of different people and a bunch of different situations and things, either which way, that voice can get so loud. And it doesn't have to define you, and it doesn't have to make you feel a certain way about yourself. I have had so many people in my life tell me I can't do something, or I shouldn't do something, or I'm not doing something good enough. I've had so many people come against me. It starts to wear on you. Like, I don't think you're weak or sensitive. Being sensitive is not a bad thing, but I don't think you're like weak or emotional just because those things get to you. I think you're just human. Even if you say, oh, I don't care what people think about me, everyone kind of takes a moment and goes, oh, well, maybe I am bad at that. Or maybe I am annoying. Or maybe whatever. Like, you kind of stop and go, oh, maybe I am those things. And when you hear those thoughts, you are saying, okay, I hear you saying that maybe I'm not enough. Like, I know that I'm feeling that way, but I can let it pass. I can let it move on. So I had someone for years and years and years who always made me feel like I wasn't good enough, like what I was doing wasn't enough. All of my creative ideas needed to go through them, needed to be refined by them. Like, I was just never good enough. My work was never good enough, and I always felt that. And I started to feel really embarrassed, I guess, about my desire to make things and to make things the way I wanted to make things. Like, I genuinely felt ashamed of my style and of how I like to make my art. Even saying that out loud, I'm like, oh, Alina, you poor thing. For years, I had this person just grinding me down, like little by little. And it got to the point where I was just like, okay, I am not good enough on my own. My ideas are not good enough on their own. I am not good enough on my own. And so even though that person is no longer in my life, I still hear that voice whenever I have a creative idea, whenever I want to go put something I made out in the world or try something new. I hear their voice being like, really? Like, really, you want to do that? Well, what if you do it this way? And I think back to like the old way that they would have me do things, or the old way that they did things. And I asked myself, I said, why, why does it matter? Like, they physically are not in your life anymore. Even if they do see what I do, because, you know, as artists in 2025, we're putting our stuff online. Some way, shape, or form, most of us are putting our stuff online. And even though they might see my work, why does it matter? Like, you're not making your work for those people. You're not doing whatever it is to make that person happy. And if you are, I think you need to take a step back and say, but am I happy? Do I like it? Because at the end of the day, those people aren't going to be with you forever. Those people are not sitting in your mind. They're not sitting with you 24/7. No one's with you 24/7. Even my like 9-month-old baby is not with me 24/7, and she's not in my head. And at the end of the day, it's me. It's just me. Can I live with the work I'm doing? Can I live with the choices I'm making? Can I live with the things I'm choosing to pursue and how I'm pursuing them? That's it. I think I just got to the point where I was like, I don't care. And that voice is still in my head. Like, I still hear that voice. I'm still, every time I go to press upload, or I'm like, oh, I'm really proud of this, I stop and I'm like, and I hear that voice that's like, are you sure? Like, are you sure? I wouldn't have done that way. And I just tell that voice, I'm like, thank you. I am sure. I am proud of this. I like this. And even if it's not like my best work, I'm like, you know what? It's okay. I like it. It's my work. It's my goal. It's my thing I'm doing. And that's it. I don't know. It's something that's just been really bothering me a lot recently, because I go through periods of time where those voices get really loud in my head, especially the more I like put myself out online as like an artist. I really struggle with those voices and telling them, no, I'm okay with what I'm doing, or no, you're not right. Like, I'm going to do it my way. I feel like right now I'm kind of in that mindset of just like, ooh, I don't know if this is good. But I just remind myself, I'm like, why are you doing it? I'm not doing it because I want to make that person proud of me. I'm not doing it because I want that person to be like, oh my God, Alina is so talented. I'm like, no, I'm doing it because I love doing it. I have people who hire me and pay me because they love how I'm doing it. My family, most of them, likes how I'm doing it. Like, my husband is proud of how I'm doing it. I'm proud of how I'm doing it. And that's all that matters. This is just like my little coffee chat rant to tell you that these voices in your head do not have to define you and do not have to drive you. When they come up, acknowledge them and ask yourself, is this aligning with who I am and what I want to be doing? Does this align with how I want to live my life? Because if it doesn't, let it go. And even if it's like, oh, well, they wanted me to be a better person or whatever, I guarantee you they didn't. I guarantee you they didn't. I look back, and the people who cut me down the most and told me that I wasn't good enough the most were the people who wanted to be doing what I was doing and wanted to have the life I had. And now that I can recognize that, I'm like, oh, okay, so like they really didn't want what's best for me. These people really don't want what's best for you. And if they did, they would be a whole fucking lot nicer to you about it. Or would be like, hey, let me show you how to do blah, blah, blah. Or have you considered doing it this way? No? Okay, fine. Like, do it however you want to do it. At the end of the day, don't live your life for people who don't give a shit about you being happy or successful or living a life that's aligned with your purpose and your passion. I ask myself this a lot of just who is standing in my way, like who is making me feel shame or scared to do something. And a lot of times it is just me giving power to voices in my head. Hopefully this was encouraging to you and can help you take back some of your control and your power. If you get to take back your art or your goals or your passions or your dreams, like they're yours. And they were given you for a reason. It's okay to do it without listening to other people, especially people who don't give a shit. So yeah, I'm gonna go and enjoy my therapy session because I love therapy. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. I went 7.5 miles before this, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling good. And then I got in the car and I was like, I'm freaking exhausted. So that's why we have chai. It's a dirty chai. I like it dirty, just like your mom.